Smart strategy, real conversations, bigger margins. This is Chasing the Margin podcast.
Well, welcome back to the podcast. Today we have Mr. David Alberts, who has been a friend and a client of mine for a while now. So, David, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this. It's nice.
Yeah. So, I think we're going to have a fun time today. David and I like to go back and forth, and we talk shop, get business done, but also like to just have fun with each other too. So we'll do a little bit of both today. So, David, just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So, David, packaging company. I'm 58 years old and had my Packaging Source Inc. for 26 years now, and I've enjoyed being an owner of and starting a company has been I always enjoyed working for myself. I always knew I wanted to work for myself, and and sometimes you got to get trained up before you can go start your own company. But once I was working for somebody in the same space, right, in packaging, and I was about 6 years into it, and the way I kind of got into it was you get 20% of the commission, right? Mm-hmm. So then one day I was like 32 years old. And I said, I'm nowhere close to where I want to be. Mm-hmm. And I woke up and I remember thinking, it was kind of an epiphany for me at this point when I was 32. And it was, it's like, I'm making 20%, so let's just say it's $1,000, you're making $200. But I woke up when I was 32 and I go, wait, I didn't make $200, I just gave up $800, right? I want to be the owner.
Yeah, you flipped it.
I flipped it, and just like that. I mean, it was that night and day in black and white for me that I just flipped the script. And I just remember that I was like, wait, if I'm going to do all this work, right, and I have the ones with the relationships, because I always say the relationships are the most powerful thing you have, right? So, and it goes both ways, They enjoy the relationship of my business, and I enjoy the fruits of my labor and the money that you get to make from it. So anyway, I turned the script, and then I went to I remember I came up with 3 names. And went to Dallas, and it cost like $7 at the time. This is back in 1999.
Okay.
And the first name was available. Packaging Source Inc. was available. Paid the $7, had like $9,000 in the bank, and I started the company from there. That's how I did it. Luckily, I was working for somebody, but I wasn't making the money I wanted. But I went to all my customers at that point, and I said, hey, I'm going to do my own thing. Mm-hmm. And they said, we're great. We're behind you. Every one of my customers said, we're behind you 100%. And that was all I needed. It was probably the push that I needed, to go do it.
Yeah, having like their almost approval, essentially.
Yeah, like, hey, we're here. We support you. One guy goes, my biggest customer, and still my biggest customer today that I've had for 26 years, he said, you're vested in this just as much as we're invested, so I believe in you, so let's go. So that was really what I needed, and that was a good fit. But it was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
When you only have $9,000 in the bank, and at that point, I owned a home. I owned a home, and it's if you don't sell, you don't make any money, and unfortunately, every house has a mailbox.
Yep.
And the bills keep coming.
Yep.
So I don't know, there's a lot of motivational right there.
So did you not have like a non-compete or something like that with the guy you were working for?
Thank God. I mean, this was a $6 billion company, huge company, Georgia Pacific, huge company. And I was a little fish at the time, I was just a little fish making, less than, it's 70,000 or something was like my best year or something. So I was nowhere close. I wanted to be making 6 figures and on my way to making, 7 figures and 8 figures. So, and then, there was no non-competes.
Okay.
I was like a little fish.
Yeah. Yeah. So they weren't too worried about you taking
and they kind of, and since I was a little fish, they didn't come after me. And then fortunate for me, they gave the accounts I had, they gave it to my best friend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, gave it to him. And he said, I'm not going to come after your business. And he said, he went in there and he says, if David messes up, call me, but I'm not coming after the business. And me and him are still best friends till today.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
So then have you always been in sales, or did you do other things before you got into the packaging sales gig?
So I didn't know sales at all.
Okay.
I knew people and I knew relationships, and I knew that that was the most important thing is, to have relationships with people. So before that, I ran restaurants and bars. It was
Okay.
only one. It was one big restaurant bar, one of the biggest ones here in Texas, in Dallas, and on the West End. And I was 22, 21, 22, 26, and I worked there for 6 years, up to 26.
Okay.
And I wanted to build some more. I was ready to get going in my life and build, and the owners didn't want to build anymore. So I said, okay. Luckily, I had some friends that were in this business, worked for Georgia Pacific. He was a sales manager. He says, why don't you come on for sales with us? Never knew sales.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's some things in life that that push you a little bit. So I went on there and I took a huge decrease from where I was at the restaurant to where I ended up. It was like a $25,000 decrease in pay. And I had a house. I just built a house when I was 25 years old because I decided that money was better put into a house than put into rent.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't get anything back from it, right? You just hand back the keys in a year. So so they gave me a job, got a big decrease, and I was they put me in the janitorial sales. I didn't know anything about janitorial. And they wanted me to start on customer service. That's why I said I did customer service for like 3 weeks or a month. And I went to the manager. I said, I can't do this. I didn't cause these people are calling in with problems and something didn't get delivered properly. Or I said, I didn't cause these problems, so I can't fix problems that I didn't cause. It was like my mind didn't compute that way.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so I started janitorial sales, and then about a year into it, I looked around the room in the sales of all the salespeople, and I'm like, who's the ones making money in here?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't the janitorial people. It was the people selling the packaging, right? So I was like, okay. I went to my boss and I go, I don't want to sell janitorial. I want to sell packaging. So I switched over to packaging. But we were going through a merge at the time, and my boss was more worried about his job, losing his job, than helping me, trying to teach me. So he gave me the yellow pages. Back then, we had yellow pages, the big yellow book.
Yeah,
So
explain Yellow Pages for those of the audience that are too
right.
young.
Just a big book. All the stuff you go on the internet about was in a book of all the companies. So anyway, I switched. So he gave me that. And he goes, "That's your call anybody you want in there. That's your location, or that's your everybody's open to you."
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, okay, sink or swim."
Yeah.
And so that's how I learned. So it was really from hard knocks of knocking on doors and learning. And then you realize that people buy from people that they like.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, people want to buy from people they like.
Yeah.
And I just started forming some relationships, knocking on doors. It's a numbers game, like every sales is. It's a numbers game. Not everybody's going to say yes. And, changing is work for most people.
Yeah.
Buyers, they don't want to change. We can get into that later as how I think things have changed since COVID. But anyway, once you get a piece of business, and luckily I was able to find some pieces of business. And anyway, and then 6 years came, and I was 32 years old, and I decided to go on my own. Now, the biggest pivot was we were selling brown boxes and tape and bubble. It was very generic stuff, commodity stuff. And I knew that there's not much money in that. People are fighting over nickels and pennies and quarters. So I didn't want the commodity. So now when I went and started my company, I said, I want all the nice custom stuff, the picture, boxes and that have pictures on it, or graphics, or your logo, or displays, and that more specialized and custom.
And that was different from what you were selling originally.
Completely different.
Okay.
But that's where there was better margins.
Yeah.
Hence the show.
Yeah, that's right. Hence
So,
the show.
so the margins were there, and I was like, wait, if I'm going to work as hard as I want to work, let's make as much money as you can.
Yeah.
And and then I pivoted to that and went straight to, all custom stuff.
Okay.
Now, even to the day, I still have a lot of brown box business, but everybody has their logos on it. But a lot of my stuff is nice, custom, printed, from iPhone boxes to displays. Everything, everything we buy is from from an iPhone to your watch to, food we buy is all custom packaging with print on it.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
I mean, I'm sure you're in the same spot as me, but my wife likes to order stuff off the internet all the time. And it always comes in a real fancy box
Yes.
that's got the same piece of clothing that a brown box would have in it. But for some reason, when you spend a certain amount of money, they like to put it in real fancy packaging. And it's the branding.
It is, and especially on a retail shelf, if, like, let's just talk about like gummies or CBD or food. If you have 4 or 5 competitors, what's going to make you stand out from somebody else? And it's usually the packaging.
Yeah. Okay. So then here's something that I'm always curious about with entrepreneurs that come on the show. Obviously, you've mentioned it several times that entrepreneurship is difficult at times. So what was the most difficult thing, either getting started, or you said it's been 26 years now since getting started? What was one of the more difficult things you've had to do?
So I was 32 when I started. Like I said, 9,000 in the bank, some customers, and a house.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't married yet. The hardest thing, I didn't date. Once I started my company and kind of got pushed, or, I decided I was going to do this, I bet there were 6 months to a year, I didn't go out. I didn't date.
You just worked?
I just worked. And at this point, I didn't have enough money to afford an assistant to do the paperwork, to do the accounts payables, to do the receivables, to do the orders.
Yep.
So when I started, it was just me. So I'd wake up really early, and I'd make some phone calls, do some paperwork, and then I would go see customers all day long, and then I would come back before the traffic started, but I'd come back, and then I would do all the orders before 5 o'clock, place all the orders. Then you have to pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
So there's accounts payables, there's accounts receivables. I have to take care of all those. And it was just wearing all the hats. So something that's really so that was good. I was fine with it and did it, and then go to bed at 10, 11 o'clock and do it again the next day at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But it gave me, I had good work ethic anyway. Mm-hmm. I always had good work ethic because I've been working since I was 13 years old. And, but boy, it pushes you. And since I didn't have any help, everything was like a sense of urgency. Mm-hmm. And I still do that as today. 26 years later, it's like, wait, if that phone rings, I pick it up, right? I still pick. If somebody emails me, I'm emailing you back right away.
Yeah.
It's just because my mind is still in that, even though I have an assistant for the last 15 years now, I still want to get back to people right away. And it's a service thing, but I just know that if I don't, something else will come up.
Yep.
Right? There's always something.
Yep.
Something didn't get delivered, or somebody they want to change the order, or they want more of something, or I need to go run and have a meeting, right?
Yep.
There's something will always come up. So I always say it's a sense of just take care of it now. It's like the old saying I tell people and tell my kids and wife, don't put off tomorrow what you can do today.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? I think that's something that's really hard to learn, is especially with the emails. Like if you say, oh, I'll get to the email later, then all of a sudden 2 weeks go by, and then you get the second email that's like, hey, you never responded to this. And it's because you didn't take the 5 minutes right in that moment to respond, whenever could have been a quick yes, no response.
Yep. And that's so true. And I mean, but it's emails, it's phone calls, it's text. And if you don't answer it, then it's like the next day your buddy's like, I was going to buy you a nice lunch or steak dinner last night. You never answered me.
Yep.
But, it's just, but I also think it's also common courtesy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To get back with people. Because the biggest thing that I I'm seeing challenges now. People don't communicate like they used to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, for sure. So going back to when you first started, you said you didn't date at all. You
Yeah.
were a single
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
So when did you decide to finally start dating? At what point? How old was the business?
It was probably in this, it was a good 6-8 months went by.
Uh-huh.
Good 6-8 months went by, and I had a better handle of, okay, how do I do this? I had a whole book. I remember I had a book of, these are all my vendors. This is where I order. This is who I pay. These are my checks, da-da-da-da. And so I just had a better system.
Yeah.
And then I was able to be freed up. And then I was making more money than I was making in the whole year that I worked for 6 years, the best year I ever had. I was starting to, some money was coming in and made me feel better.
Yeah.
And you save because you don't know.
Yeah.
You're talking about challenges, right?
Yeah.
You just don't know. 1 month is good, and then you don't know, is the next month going to be good? Right? So you're like, okay, I better save. I could spend a little bit. So.
Yeah. So then at the 6-8 months mark, you started dating. Is that when
Yeah.
you met your wife right out of the
No,
gate, or
so-
did it take a while?
It took a little while. But then I was 32, 33. But at 34, I had been dating a lot. And then I was like, I want to get married. I'm ready. And I already knew. I mean, I knew I wanted to be married. I knew I wanted kids. I knew I wanted to be married. But I always knew that I wanted some money in the bank.
Yeah.
Right? I wanted some money. That was just my thing of, I have a twin brother. I don't know if you know, but I have a twin brother, and he got married when he was.
Is he the better looking twin?
His wife would probably say that. But he got married at 25.
Uh-huh.
And there's two ways to go through. We talk about it. He's got married at 25, so he had probably some more stresses that he had to worry about. And but now he has his kids, that are already out of the house, and now he's already a grandfather, right? And my kids, I got married at 30. I met my wife at 34. Got married at 35. So now I have kids that are 19 and 21. So there's no grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
So I look back on, would I've done something different? But I wouldn't have gotten. I just didn't feel right getting married at 25.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't have much money. I wanted to have more money. So, and he's just done it. And I've had this conversation with people. It's like, do you have kids earlier, when there's more stresses in your life and you're just starting your career? But then you might not spend as much time with the grandkids on the back end.
Right.
And now I started a little later, and now I worry that I'd like to be around to see my kids get married and them have grandkids. So I never look back.
Yeah.
You can't look back. In life, you always look forward, right? You're looking backwards, not a good thing.
Yeah.
That's Facebook. That's what Facebook's for.
That's right.
Right?
Well, you're not even the only guest that's kind of gone down the same path of specifically mentioning being financially ready and then having kids much later in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you. And that's kind of the stance that I've taken, is wanting to have kids later to at least, tell myself I'm more financially stable. Now, whether that's true or not, who knows? But I keep telling myself that, and then I keep having people say, oh, well, you'll never be ready. You'll never be ready.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Because then you have one, and you're like, okay, well, let's wait a little while till we have number two. And then you're like, well, when is it ever right to just go have it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's never right. Okay. So with the kids thing,
Yes.
I always like to hear entrepreneurs and their experience with their kids, because I think that's probably one of the most difficult times that things change pretty drastically is when they have kids. Was that difficult for you, or was it just, hey, here's a kid, business as usual?
Well, so I got married at 35.
Mm-hmm.
Love my wife, great. And she was the same age. Or no, she's 2 years younger, 2 years younger. So she had lived her 20s too and her 30s, and she was ready to get married.
Yep.
I even asked her on our first date, do you want to have kids? And she said, yeah. And she said, if I said no, would we have gone out again? And I said, no, I was ready to get married. I love you. You're beautiful. So, thank God it all worked out. So so we had kids, but luckily we're all, I always say marriage is, you got to be on the same page.
Yeah.
You're not on the same page. We were just both in our mid-30s, ready to start our life together and start having kids. But how does the kids, having kids, I think, are the most wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Me, I'm a little selfish in that I think, that I think until you have kids, you don't know that. But having kids, I think, is the greatest thing you can do.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It gives you a full life.
Yeah. I guess the saying is it's the most rewarding, but also the most challenging thing. Do you feel like that's true?
Yeah. But, luckily I have a 19 and a 21-year-old.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, there's challenges because then, there's feedings. I'm trying to think back, but, there was feedings. But I think in life you make it work.
Yeah.
Things that you want to work, make it work.
Yeah.
Yes, there's challenges. There's challenges with everything. And then there's sporting events, and then there's practices. But if you're into the whole dad thing, you're into it. So you just make it work. You sleep a little less.
Yeah.
You learn how to sleep a little faster because you wake up a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And, and luckily we're blessed that wife was able to stay home with the kids, and, so that probably made it a little bit easier.
Yep.
Right. But there's challenges, but now they're older now, the kids are older and there's nothing more rewarding. It's the best. And my oldest son's 21, he's a senior in college, and he's really looking to come on to Packaging Source.
Okay.
We're trying to figure out if that's going to work, and he has an interest, and I have an interest for him to come on, and I really hope that would work.
You gonna make him buy the business?
We're going to work through that. A 10X. Maybe you can give me some advice on.
Yeah, probably a 10X multiple, 10 times EBITDA.
Yeah,
that's a good number.
Something, yeah, at least.
At least, yeah.
Or, a buyout, and I get it over time, or, we'll work out something that's good for both of us.
Yeah. Well, that also is something that I'm always curious about because I feel like, especially me, and you probably relate to this sentiment a lot, is entrepreneurs always want to help their kids, and that's one of the reasons they work so hard.
Mm-hmm.
But they also don't want to give so much to their kids that their kids don't have a work ethic.
That's it.
So what did you do to try to have that perfect balance of providing but also giving them a work ethic?
That's a great question, it really is, because I think that's what most entrepreneurs, and I know that, and people that have a few dollars and have some money that are comfortable and well off,
Mm-hmm.
that's the biggest question they have, and how to do that. And most of the people I know, I'm thinking about my circle and just a little probably outside of the circle, we all went and built the company,
Mm-hmm.
right? Nobody was inherited, at least the group, the people that I know and hang out with, they didn't inherit it from the parents.
Right.
Nobody was the Joneses, right?
Right.
But and we talk about that a lot. And my thing that if my kids were here would say is, if I die tomorrow, God forbid I die tomorrow, that I gave them good work ethic,
Mm-hmm.
and I tell them, get up early. My son's going through, he just did an internship with a private equity company this summer. And I tell my kids, rate yourself from 1 to 10. And I ask other kids, rate yourself from 1 to 10. What are you? 10's the best, 1's average, 1's the worst, right? 5's average. What are you? So my son, he's the humble kid that he is. He says, well, Dad, I'm maybe 6.5 or 7. He's trying to be nice.
Yeah.
Trying to be humble, right? And I go, well, that's like average, maybe a little bit above average, right? So if you're average, your life you have is not average, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're thinking you're 6.5, then your life will be average. You'll get an average pay, And that's about what you could expect out of life. Now, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But if you want what you kind of been growing up around or things that I think you would like, nicer cars and houses and continue to enjoy the stuff that nice trips and vacations, then you can't be average, right? So he did an intern, and he started out, it was like 10 to 4 at a private equity company. And I'm like, but if you show up, but if you're the first one there and you're the last one, you'll get recognized, you know, in your job.
Yeah.
And those are the people that will get the promotions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not the person. And I just had dinner with a friend. His kid just graduated from UT, from the business school. And it's tough out there for these kids.
Right.
He didn't get the best job. And I was talking to the kid and Saturday night. And I said, well, what time's, you got your job? What time do you go to work? And I think he was like 9. And then I think he left at like 4:30, something like that.
Wow.
Like 9 to 4:30.
Banking hours.
Yeah, crazy. It's a big insurance company. It's a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah.
And he's going to be an insurance guy. And I said, well, can I give you a word? And I looked at his father and I go, kids don't listen to their own parents. Do you mind if I say? And I've known the parents for 30 years or 25 years. And I said, do you mind? He goes, no, please do. And I go, do you think if you showed up, if you were the first one there and you were the last one, like maybe show up at 8:30 or 8? He goes, well, when am I going to sleep? I go, what time do you go to bed now? He goes, 11. How about you go to bed at 10?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I just said, I'm just telling you, in a year from now, when you just told me your thing is about a year training, who do you think they're going to look at? They're going to look at you, the 9 to 5 people, or they're going to look at the 8 to 6 person?
Yeah. I really like this joke when it's, I've heard people say this about Wall Street, and they say, if you want to take PTO on Saturday, then don't worry about showing up on Sunday. And it's just talking about the work ethic of those guys, that they would just day after day after day. And I think there's a balance where you can overdo it. If you're working 100 hours a week every single week, maybe there's a time for that, but you can't do that forever.
Not if you're not if you want to grow. And especially, you were saying, I don't know if the question was really for the younger people, but I mean, if you're working for somebody, you better figure out how to shine.
Yeah.
You better figure out how to make yourself valuable.
Yeah.
And just doing what they ask from 9 to 5 or 8:30 to 4:30, whatever the time is, if you're clocking out right at that point, so I try to teach my kids, work harder than anybody else. I mean, I know it's generic and I know it's people say it, but if you don't outwork your competition and keep figuring out things or keep your mind fresh and open, I just think you're going to have a hard time to rise above. The cream rises to the top.
Yeah. Well, this question that I have, that I always have it on my list to ask guests, but sometimes I don't get to it. But I feel like this is probably a question I wrote when I was thinking of having you on, because I think I already know the answer to this. But the question is, what are your thoughts on work hard and save money now versus enjoy life and worry about savings later?
No. Save now.
Save now?
Save now.
So just work hard and save it?
Work hard. Well, but why can't you do both?
Well, yeah, you can spend some, but, some of these people want to go 25 years old, spend everything they've got, and then they wake up at 35 and they have no savings.
So we could dive right into that. I mean, I have a lot of opinions about that.
Well, that's what you're here for, David. Give us all your opinions.
I say 50% of what I make.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't grow up with a lot of money. I was low to middle class, and that's fine, and lost my mom at an early age when I was 17. Parents came from a divorced family. Mm-hmm. Like I said, that's just the hand that I was given. But I just think you save. you can do both. Play hard, work hard, play hard, play hard, work hard. You can, I just think that the 30, I see it in the 20s, the 30s, the millennials, I guess if you want to call them. They're all, and I have my nieces and nephews. They all want experiences. Mm-hmm. That's the thing now. Mm-hmm. Experiences. And social media has made it very tough for the 20-somethings. Probably made it tough for the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s too. If you're on social media and you're seeing what your neighbor's doing or what your neighbor has or a 20-something, that's tough. It's tough. I didn't have to grow up with social media and worry about what if the grass is green, what they're doing over there, but it takes a while for you to understand. I don't always have to go to the newest restaurant, or until you have the money, the extra money to do it. But I think you can do both. I think I did both. Once I got, but when you're just getting started, like a lot of kids are living at home now when they get out of college. It's tough to get a house.
Yeah, it's expensive to rent or buy a house,
right,
either one.
Right, you're into that, into
real estate investing.
Real estate investment, and you see it. But I know more kids now where they're, like I said, the age that I am and the people that I hang out with, their kids are coming home from college now, or have been home for a couple of years, and trying to find a house. It's crazy expensive.
Yeah, it is.
But I think people can save. I think once you figure out whether you save $50, $100, like my nephew, just 27 years old, just had a baby 3 months ago. And I was just with him over July 4th. And I said, you do a 529 yet? He goes, yeah, we're getting ready to open that up. I said, I know you're not making a whole lot of money right now.
What's a 529 for those who don't know?
So the 529 for the kid, a kid's college savings program. Mm-hmm. And I said, you have $50 extra a month, not a week, but a month. He goes, oh, I have $50. I go, there you go. So I said, just start off with $50 for a 529. That's a savings.
Something.
It's something, right? So that's that's what I tell. But people want the experiences, and it costs things. I mean, we go out to dinner, and dinners are not cheap anymore. It doesn't matter where you go.
No, it doesn't. Chili's is expensive at this point.
My son, we went to he had lunch today, and he came out with a chicken sandwich and at this new hot chicken place. And I said, how much was that, by the way? He goes, $15.
Yeah.
For the chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
So it just is what it is. But I think there's a balance of, I think people can figure out how to save.
Yeah. So,
maybe you don't need the nicest car, right? Maybe you don't need to lease that car. Maybe you keep your car a little bit longer. Just because you don't have a payment anymore doesn't mean you get a new car.
That's an interesting question for you because you enjoy a nice car.
Yes. When
you started your business, what did you drive and how long did it take you before you got a decent car?
Oh, I didn't have a new car I started off with a Nissan Maxima. Mm-hmm. Nissan used.
Yeah, little four-door.
I didn't have a new car till after I started my company. I didn't have a new car till I was 34.
Okay, so 2 years in.
2 years in.
Yeah.
I didn't have a new car.
And was it a nice new car?
No, it was a Pathfinder.
Okay, so just a step up, a SUV.
An SUV, because I needed to be able to carry boxes and carry in samples and stuff like that. Yeah. So it was a Pathfinder.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when was your first sports car?
Okay.
I know you like a good sports car, David.
So I'm trying to think. I'd probably start with a second car. I got married, and probably once we had I had a motorcycle, and when my wife told me she was pregnant, we got rid of that motorcycle. So I think a couple of years in, I think I bought a little Jeep.
Yeah.
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 It was, I remember it was I bought a Jeep. It's probably a 10-year-old Jeep, but it was a beautiful Jeep, but it was snowing that day. And I figured, okay. And I seen this Jeep at the dealership inside, and and it was used. And I went in on it was snowing, and I'm like, they ain't selling any cars today. And that was my third car, my
Yeah.
main car, my wife's main car, and then an extra car was the Jeep. And but it was snowing. I made him a deal. I said, hey, here's a deal. You either take it or leave it. I don't, I'm gonna be fine either way. And he took it. I said, okay, well, you got to deliver it now. So anyway, I had the Jeep, but when I moved maybe to a little faster car, little sports car, it was, and I told myself if I couldn't pay, this was one of my things. If I couldn't pay cash for it, I didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
And I still have that till today. I had a golf carts and I've had other toys and other cars, but if I couldn't afford it, that was one of the other things. But I think I was 50, I'm 58, 3 years ago. I had 48, 50. Maybe it was around 50. I'm like, I'm going to get a sports car.
Yeah. So you waited a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so that's something about you that I've learned over the years working with you is that kind of like you're saying, you've always been good about saving. You've always been good about making good financial decisions. So you're a pretty big investor. So I want you to talk about that a little bit because I think that you could maybe give some good insight on different types of investments and how your brain works and why you pick certain investments. What is it that sticks out to you?
Yeah, investing is I just think you can't put everything in one basket.
Okay.
Right. So I have packaging source, right? Had it 26 years, right? So, and then I was like, what else is really good stuff? Land. I remember I started with I bought some land.
How old were you when you bought your first piece of land?
In the 40s.
Okay.
40s. Yeah, because it took me a couple of years to start making a few dollars where I had some extra money to put away. If I started the company, it was 32, maybe 8. Yeah, probably, as I get older, my mind's not as sharp. Everything seems like it was 5 years ago, and it was really 10 to 12 years ago.
Yeah.
I just had this conversation with somebody. We're talking. I was like, "Oh, that was 5 years ago." Because that was 15. we had me and my buddy have the same wallet.
Yeah.
And he just said I was with him Saturday night, and he goes, "Man, can you believe how long we've had this?" Well, I go, "What? 10 years?" He goes, "I think it's 20." The same damn wallet. Anyway, for investments. So I just don't believe in having it all in one basket, right? Everybody, we should all be in the stock market, S&P 500. Go do it. Go index it out.
Yeah.
Right? Go have indexes. You got to be in the market because the market's, you just have to be there.
Yeah.
It's an easy. There's indexes. It's diversified.
It's low risk compared to some of the other stuff.
Yeah, and but I also enjoyed stocks. Right? We went through times where people would give stock options. So I always like stocks. And if you own Apple, if you were one of the, and there's just always some stocks that and I even teach my kids. My kids love it. My son loves to be in the stock market. He's got a little Bitcoin. He's got some Apple. He looks, as a matter of fact, we were today and he's looking at his phone. I'm like, son, you can't look at it every day. But he looked at it today and goes, oh, that's up 16%. So I'm glad to see that.
Yeah.
He really is. So, yes, stock market for sure. I think when you have extra money, if you can dollar cost average and,
just keep putting it in a little at a time.
Put a little bit stock that. So once you start making some money in the stock market, okay, then that frees you up to do some other things. You buy a little land, even though I still have some land, but I don't love it because there's no, I don't get any monthly income from it.
Yeah, it just sits there.
It just sits there. You got to have a lot of patience with land. A lot.
Are you a very patient person?
No. So the land, just everybody says it's great, but time will tell. And then, but then I think it's called alternative investments. So my financial guy started bringing me some alternative investments, and then I started looking at it. And luckily, one of my best friends has a private equity company, and he's been nice enough to let me get into these private equity investments.
Yeah.
So, and then, the other good caveat to teach is you surround yourself with other successful people, and opportunities come.
Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of the whole mantra of what you've been saying this whole time is a good relationship will benefit you at some point in life, whether it's investing, whether it's a potential client, whether it's somebody who you can help each other with your kids on giving advice between the two of you. And that seems to be what you've done your entire life is do everything you can to protect and nurture the relationships with the people that you really feel like are good for you. So
Absolutely.
on the land, let's talk about that. Have you sold any of the land yet, or you just bought and held?
I do have. I did one piece of land I had, and it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. It was
So you
my
don't think it was
first. It
worth
was my
it?
first go round into some land. No, I take that back. My first one was up in Sanger. A buddy of mine, he had 25 acres, and he couldn't afford the 25 acres. It was right on the lake in Sanger. I don't know what lake it was. I don't know. It was a beautiful lake up there. And he couldn't afford the 25, so I said, well, I'll split it with you. I said, but I'm selling it. I'm just telling you, but so you could afford it, I'm going to sell it. And I bought half of it, the 12 and a half acres, and I said, I'm going to sell it in 1 year
Okay.
because of the capital gains, right?
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
Right? I didn't want the capital gains. I didn't want the taxes from it. So a guy was buying everybody's land that was attached to the water. And he just kept buying whatever was attached to his last piece. He wanted the next piece. So that one I did make money on. I did make some good money on it and just rolled it into the second piece that was in Corinth.
Okay.
It was over in Corinth. And the reason supposedly HEB was going to come there and build on that property. And now HEB's finally come to the Metroplex, but this was 10 years ago and they didn't come.
Yeah.
So anyway, I lost some on that. And but then now I have some at Tollway and 380.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good spot.
Really good spot, right?
Yeah.
Because it's growing up there at 380, which is Prosper, Salina, and then Frisco.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little slower than I like. So, I think I got in on a deal with other people, and we have 10% of it. And they put a hospital, but we still got like 46 acres, and it's 5-6 years later, and still nothing. And you don't make any income.
Yeah. Just sits there. Okay.
Just sits there.
Well, then tell us, because I know you do all kinds of different investing. What is on a percentage basis, the worst deal you've done, the most money you've lost on a percentage basis, and the best deal you've done on a percentage basis?
On a percentage basis.
Yeah, or if you
you
want to
that.
do dollars, you can do whatever you want.
My worst deal, it was a business. It was an investment deal or my business.
Just any type of investing.
Oh, it was because I could tell you with my company, there was a big ammunition company.
Okay,
That was probably my worst one.
Tell us.
Because I invested in that. So a big, huge ammunition company was coming to Texas, and they had the building and everything. It was up in North Texas, Texoma, Texarkana, something up there, Texarkana. And back then, there was a big shortage in ammo.
Mm-hmm.
It's the back part of it, the back part of the bullet. But anyway, so they were going to do it, and the guy was never even. So he ordered 10 million pieces of packaging. 10 million. They were ready to rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
And they had so much margins on this stuff. It was great stuff. And I even invested in the company, even got my financial guy to invest in it. That was $250,000 I put in that one. But the packaging was about $800,000.
Mm.
They never opened their doors.
What happened?
It was a perfect scenario of somebody that has a good vision but can't get to the finish line.
Can't execute.
He's not an executor. Can't execute. Couldn't execute. And he had taken people's deposits. I mean, he had taken tens, I think it was $10-20 million.
Mm-hmm.
It just, luckily, he paid me back a little bit. I got back my cost of goods.
So did you didn't lose money?
I didn't lose, but it was $800,000 of profit.
Yeah. And a lot of your time.
And a lot of my time and lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
So I never made, out of all that thing, I never made any money.
Mm-hmm.
But I also lost the 250 investment.
Okay, so you did lose that money.
I did lose the 250 investment. Yes.
Yeah. So that was your worst deal. What's
Yeah.
your best deal?
Still to come.
That's right.
Real estate's been good for like my homes.
Uh-huh.
Like when that very first home when I was 25, and then I moved to Frisco and I sold that house and I parlayed. I always kept money in. If I had a house, that money stayed in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the next house, and then the next house, and but my biggest, I don't know if I have hit. They're probably all home runs.
Yeah.
And I don't know if to me, they all add up to a home run, but I don't know if I've had some good investments where, there was some good six figures in there.
Yeah.
Six figures, but, I'm involved in some really big investments now that I think will pay some really good dividends.
So what you said might actually be true, that the best is yet to come.
I
Because,
do.
Yeah, you got a lot on
I do. I'm in some investments that I think will hit.
Okay.
That will hit.
Is there anything specifically that you look for when investing now? Like, is it a person? Is it a specific deal type? A specific type of asset?
Yeah, now, because I'm 58. And it's not that I'm old, because I think I'm one of the best. I'm on the back end. It's like, I tell my kids, am I old? And they're like, no, Dad, you're not old. And I'm like, well, when I was your age, I thought 58 was fucking old. So
That's right.
I think, but when you're 58, you just never tell yourself you're old.
Yeah.
And plus, I think I'm doing some things right, eating better, cold plunging, and sauna and all those things. And I think I'm in really, really good shape, and I'm happy where I am. It's a mental thing too. I'm happy where I am at 58, but I do know that I'm on the back end. I have less of a runway than I did. So, you don't want to be stupid with your money.
Right.
Right? You don't want to make really bad decisions and then end up losing for all the hard work that you did.
Yeah.
The one big motto I've always had is just got to spend less than you make.
Yeah.
Kids need to learn that today more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Spend less than you make. Save more than you think you need to, because there's going to be a rainy day.
Yeah.
There is some rainy days. Stuff just happens, whether you need a new set of tires, right, you didn't plan for, or your water heater breaks, something, just stuff happens. But it was back to investing with people, or?
Yeah, what do you look for in investing?
I've made some investments. They weren't big ones, but the company wasn't established. Like, this thing's going to take off.
It was just an idea.
It was an idea, and boy, and I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
I want to see a little bit more of a proven track record.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I want to see, you got to be up and running. I'm not going to, I know some people take jobs for startups, right? They hope there's a golden ticket at the end of the startup.
Yeah, because some do.
Some do. I talk to some people, and they try to do these startups all the time. And, I guess when you're young and single, you can do that. But, you hope for the best, too, in life. You don't go into something negative either.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, this is good. I like this idea. I support these people. But it's more people now, probably. It's people that are running it. Is it up and running? They have they have a proven track record. And then, do I trust the person that's giving me the investment? Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Are they making anything on this investment?
Yeah.
Are they? And then one of the golden things that I always tell my kids, and if anybody ever asks my advice, is if it's so good, are you doing it?
Right.
And if the answer is no, they didn't do it, like a stock tip or something, if they didn't buy the stock, why would you do it?
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. Yeah. Is there anybody in your life that they wouldn't even have to tell you the idea they just told you, hey, David, I need $100,000 for an investment that I think is a good idea, that you would just be like, because of that person, here's the money, take it and invest it in whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have one friend.
One friend, just one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One.
Regardless of what it is.
And I have a partnership with him.
Yeah.
We're in business together. We have an investment company that we've had for the last 8 to 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And regardless of what it
no
is.
matter what he said, because I know he's done the due diligence, he's done the work. Even though he has stupid money, he never does stupid things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the reason he has the money he has.
Exactly.
It's because he doesn't make dumb decisions.
And we've done some things together where he's like, hey, I like it. And I've gone along with him, and, and we've done it.
Paid off so far?
Yeah, and some still to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some still to come. But, yeah, he's the only one I would do it with. But I trust, I do trust, because I know he doesn't want to lose either.
Yeah. Yeah. So you also mentioned this, and this is something that I don't know if I know the answer of what you might say on this, but you kind of surprised me with something you said earlier. As a younger person, it's so easy to just say, oh, just work, work, work.
Mm-hmm.
And you, sounds like, did that at one point in your life, and you were like, oh, I'll take care of myself later. But now it sounds like maybe you have a little bit more of a balance with your life where your mental health and your physical well-being are important. So what are some of the things, you mentioned the physical side with like the cold plunge and the sauna. What are some of the things you do for your mental health now?
I think it's so important. And as you get older, you realize what's important to you, right? I love my wife. I love my kids. I have a great daughter. And I've been blessed with a boy and a girl. So I get to see both of it. And since I've saved a little bit more than I've spent, I've been able to enjoy life a little bit more and not push as hard as I've,
Once did.
Mm-hmm. True. And so I do have more balance. We try to take nice trips, and, because as you get older, it's about building memories.
Yeah.
It really is. And you realize that, what's important in you in life, because tomorrow's not given.
Yeah.
And, and you don't realize that. And you got to remind yourself that every once in a while, tomorrow is not given.
Yeah.
And so I have my kids home from school for the summer, and we've had, like, every night, it's like, what are we going to watch for a movie? We're trying to find, we're doing things. I'm playing golf with my son. I go walking with my daughter, and so, but I just think you need to have a balance,
So
if that answers, I don't know.
Yeah, it answers it. So it sounds like your balance is kind of spending time with your kids and maybe taking some time away on vacation to try to break away from the day-to-day.
I'm playing golf more.
Okay.
Yeah, playing golf a lot more than I used to.
Yeah.
Not that the game's any better, but you find it. Yeah, I do enjoy that more. I do, but I still enjoy work. Let me tell you. I mean, it's I still like closing a deal.
Yeah.
That gets your blood going and your heart going. I still want to close the deal, because at the end of the day, I'm not the only one that's doing what I do. And so when you get to close a piece of business, it's still good. I don't care what money you make, whether it's $1 or more, you got chosen to make it. So
yeah,
they had a choice.
Do you think you'll ever get to a place in life where you will completely stop working?
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I think I know it's cliche to say it's boring. I think you either get busy living or you get busy dying.
Exactly.
Right. So it's just a balance. No, I love working. I've had some customers that I've had for 30 years. Been in the business 32. Started the business 26 years ago. I have some of the same customers and some of the same relationships.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting older, and some of the people are getting younger, and then it might be really good for my son, coming on board. But I got to mentor him, and I got to help him, and maybe my daughter might show some interest too. There might be interest there for her. But stop working, maybe not as much. I'll still do the packaging, but then there's investment. You got to keep your money.
Yeah.
You got to figure out,
So you'll work in some form or
Absolutely.
another.
Yeah, I think, you just can't stop cold turkey.
Yeah. So on the customer side, because you
Yeah.
just mentioned that, and this is one of the things that I really wanted to get out of this podcast with you,
Right.
because you've been in sales for a very long time and you've had customers come and go throughout your career. What advice for somebody who's starting a business? Because ultimately, if they start a business, they're a salesperson, or if they're a salesperson in general, what advice would you give that person for finding a customer? I know it depends on the industry, but just some general advice for that.
It's the same thing. Like I said, I have my son working for me this summer before he goes back to school, and I am seeing it like I've never seen it before. The change, and it doesn't matter whether you're in packaging, you or the garbage guy, the janitorial company, or the pallet guy, or the cleaning service, or whatever. Everything's sales, and even when you own a company, it's sales.
Right.
Everything is sales. When but the advice, what I'm seeing, how COVID has changed everything. COVID has flipped sales on its head, or
Okay.
upside down.
Explain.
It is, because I'm living it with my son right now. We're out there, and there's nobody. So COVID is, like I said, has just turned this thing upside down. We went to 10 places the other day. 9 of them is nobody even at a front door. And these are could be a warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
It could be just a big showroom. It could be I'm not talking about high-rise buildings, which I've guaranteed if we went to this high-rise that we're in now, that there's not receptionists. There's just no receptionist anymore. There's nobody answering the doors. There's a doorbell.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a meeting? No. Come back when you have a meeting. Nobody's coming to the doors anymore.
Okay.
Trying to get in just to leave your brochure or a card. No.
So how do you find them now?
And now I'll give you all the negatives, and then you just got to figure it out. It's like one, with the packaging. I said, let's go. This is a great company, and I said, let's go. Back in the day, you used to go in the back door,
Mm-hmm.
and you just walk in the back door and act stupid, act like you were lost, and you say, hey, who's in charge of all the packaging and shipping? And that's how you did it 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah, because that was the guy you needed to meet.
Well, yeah, or he would get you to the person that was close to him, or he'd at least tell you. Well, we finally went to the back, and there was a forklift guy in the parking lot, and he helped me.
Uh-huh.
Right? He gave us the name at least. But there's nobody at the front anymore. And if you do go to the front, we went the next day and went to another area of Dallas, and we did somebody did open the door, the front door. She came, and she would open the door maybe 3 inches. And she goes, can I help you? We're like, well, we'd just like to leave this and get a name of who's in charge of all the, custom packaging. And she goes, well, I can't give you that. We're not allowed to give out any names and numbers. So there's no names and numbers. Can I leave my brochure? Yeah, well, here's the brochure. That's it. But the problem is nobody answers emails.
Mm-hmm.
We're all inundated with emails. So nobody answers an email. Nobody's answering their phone. Okay? And now you text them and they answer, they're going to be pissed off that they got a solicitor, that they got somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It is tough. It is hard. Now, with all that said, you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right? We all have this Zoom info, and we all have, contacts and names. We all have a lot of the same information.
So do you still feel like in-person sales is the best route to go, or would you go a different route?
I think it's the best financially.
You think you close more deals in person?
Well, I think you need to have a website.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going through that now where, it's you better be SEO'd, which is search engine optimization. You better be in the 1, 2, 3, 4 spot. Nobody goes to the second page, and they only call the 1 or 2 or 3 spots. Now, I started that 12 years ago, really honing in on my SEO.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be in the 1, 2. So we get a lot of phone calls. And I was telling my son, we get a lot of phone calls, but COVID has caused a lot of people to now shift to want to be an entrepreneur. Nobody wants to go back to the office anymore. Nobody wants to go back to work anymore.
Nope.
And everybody wants to start their own company. And I'll get 10, 15 calls a week of, hey, I'm starting a small company, which is kind of you don't want to hear I'm starting a small company because they only want 100 boxes, and that's just not our specialty. And it costs a lot to only make 100 boxes. Whether I make 100, 1,000, or 1,000,000 boxes, I'm still setting up everything the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you got to get creative, and we're working through that now, and people, there's phone calls. You got to do it all. You got to email. You got a phone call. You maybe show up a little bit early when boss man's there. Show up a little later.
Yeah.
Somehow you got to get to the decision maker.
Yeah. So you said SEO. So what do you do to optimize your SEO? I think that'll be good for people to hear.
Yeah. So SEO it's huge. It's like having a business. Everybody has a website, but everybody has a business card. But unless you give somebody your business card, nobody's going to know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So SEO is you got to be ranking, and there's ways to do it. And you got to hire people. You can't do it yourself.
So you outsource all of that.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And I got a guy that I feel is one of the better ones. He did it for Amazon, and he did it for some big companies, and he gets me engine. But now we're pivoting. I just had a big meeting with him last week. AI is coming on board.
Mm-hmm.
So the way you Google and search for stuff, he said within the next 5 years or less, you won't do that ever again. You say you want an air condition. Your air conditioner's broken, you go Google air condition repairman near me. That'll be gone. You'll just, AI it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's Google or who it is, but they have like the picture thing now where you can take a picture and like circle the image and it will go search it on the internet.
Yeah.
By just the image. You don't have to
I'm just
type
getting
anything.
into it. Like I am so blown away. I every time somebody says, "Oh, why do you even Google it anymore? Why don't you?" I go, "Well, give me some real world."
Yeah.
That's what I say now. Give me real world. And I was with my financial guy the other day. He plays golf, and he needed a new putter a new shaft on his driver. He just said, "Hey, these are my stats. I know what my speed is." And it came back with what his recommendation is.
Yeah.
Of what? So I ask people all the time, give me your real world. But he says that's where the searches will be going.
Yeah. That's interesting that even in the packaging space, AI is going to be, sounds like you either know it and you'll survive, or if you don't learn AI, then you'll fall flat.
You will fall, yes. So I need to be just as good at my SEO as I have to do with my AI searching.
Okay.
So people find me.
Yeah. So this guy, how did you find him?
Which guy?
The guy that you...
He's my same guy that does my SEO.
Yeah, but how did you find him originally?
He was with a good buddy of mine that owns one of the largest janitorial companies. And janitorial companies are very competitive too.
Yeah.
Right?
Lots of different janitorial companies.
I get 5, 6 calls, 10 calls a week. Can we
Mm-hmm.
come clean your building?
Mm-hmm.
Clean your place? And so you want to go with, you don't want just anybody. You want somebody that ranks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found him, and I've been with, like I said, 10, 12 years. But I found him because my friend really liked him. It's all back to,
Relationships.
keeping your relationships, keeping your network.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing is getting with people that have done it. Why should you try to figure it out? Go, if somebody has a competitive industry, and say, what are you doing? SEO is still SEO no matter what it is, no matter what the, product is.
Yeah.
Right? You still have to you still want to come ranking in the 1, 2, 3 spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's wrap it up, David, with a couple questions. So you've talked about rapid fire questions. You've talked about relationships constantly. What's the number one relationship in your life, and why?
My wife.
Yeah, I laid that one out there for you.
You
So
did, yeah. My wife, yeah, she's the rock. I mean, I tell her all the time. I mean, and she's one of the reasons I've been so healthy, because she's healthy. Like I was saying, being on the same page with somebody, She's healthy, so I'm healthy. But she's the smartest person I know.
Yeah.
She's by far the smartest, and I just, I just go do my thing and I make sure the lights stay on and we have food in the refrigerator, and, and she's the CEO of everything else.
That's right.
Yeah.
So life easier or harder being married?
Easier.
Okay.
By far.
Do you think business is also easier being married?
By far. 100%. I've said this since I was in my 20s. I might have said it when I was 18. I don't know. I've said this. Behind every successful man there's a good woman.
Mm-hmm.
I've said that forever. It's one less thing we got to worry about.
Yeah.
It's one less. Am I going to have when you're with somebody and you're married and you have a good relationship, it's like, okay, I don't have to worry about who I'm going to go out with Friday night or Saturday night. All right, it's a built-in date.
Yeah.
And I've been saying that forever. I've been the most successful when I was in a relationship.
Okay. I think that's good. So then traveling, where's the most fun place you've traveled? You've talked about that a good bit.
Yeah. Good. Like I said, I love my kids and everything, and we're trying to build memories, right? Because he's 21, he's going to get out of school, and he's not going to have the vacation time, right, that they have now, and my daughter. So our favorite trip that we is Greece.
Okay.
So we went to Greece about 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and 2 years ago, and so we it was like 3 weeks, but you just don't know until you get there.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Mykonos, Santorini. You've seen these pictures, but what was the best part was there was an island called Crete, and the food was just amazing, and it was just so laid back. Everything was so green. We got invited to go onto a farm, and it was like 6 hours. I'm like, what the heck are we doing for 6 hours? We had the best time.
Yeah.
We were cooking. They showed us how to cook tzatziki, and we had more fun and drinking grappa and just hanging out. It
totally
was
worth it.
Just totally worth it.
Yeah.
So Greece was even, you could ask anybody in the family, that was our number one trip.
Okay. And then last one here, cold plunge. You mentioned that.
Yes.
How long do you cold plunge?
It depends how long the song is. It's at least 3 minutes, and it's hard for me to make it to 5, but I have. So it's usually between 3 and 4.
All right. Well, then what song? Because you mentioned the song.
Well, it just depends what song it is.
Well, I mean, are you a old school guy or a new school guy?
I mix it up. Like today was Eric Church.
Okay, yeah.
Today was Eric Church, and it was about a little over 3.5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But if I get a song, because I have to be singing or doing something, I can't be in there silent.
Yeah, how cold do you do
it's set at 47 right now.
47?
But I'm telling you, it's been a game changer for me.
Yeah.
Sauna and that cold plunge, because at my age, you get little aches and pains in the morning when you get out of bed, and I'm telling you that just.
Yeah, I just started doing
it. You did?
Yeah, but we did it at 37.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
good.
And it is painful how cold that is.
It's a big, every couple of degrees, so I'm trying to keep, because my kids are using it.
Yeah.
And they don't want me to go down. But, yeah, 37, that's good.
Yeah, but it makes a difference, because we did a long run and then did that, and it was like completely recovered immediately after it. It was incredible.
Yes, yeah, right. Oh, and then did you dip your head in?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get that vagus nerve?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, that's the best. So I probably talk about it way too much to people, but I just think it's just the greatest thing since sliced bread. I love the damn thing.
I agree with you. So.
It's still a mental. Every day. I mean, I've been doing it for 6 months. It's still a mind game every time. You can do this.
Yeah.
And then when you're out, you're like, okay.
Yeah. All right. And then the last question we always end with, for any entrepreneur that's either currently in business or getting started, what's the best advice you could give them?
Just outwork your competition. I mean, that's hard to say. I mean, that's cliche. You just got to, the competition's coming after you. So you just got to do better and work harder than them and show up. And I just think the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah.
It's just I heard that a long time ago, and it kind of rings true that if you work, you continue to work, and it's hard. Not every day is rosy.
Yeah.
There's ups and downs, and you're not gonna, it's not gonna always be. But boy, when it's good, and you enjoy it. It makes you want to come back. But I wouldn't want I would not want to be I love being an entrepreneur. I love being my own boss.
Mm-hmm.
I love, not that I just don't work. I worked for somebody before, and I just knew that I just wasn't meant. I've been an entrepreneur. I've had little companies, and from T-shirt company to I owned payphones when I was a kid. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I was in my 20s, so I always did something. I just like having money in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
But for you to be able to control your time,
Yeah.
you know, you're an entrepreneur, work hard, then you get to control your time.
Yeah.
Your time is yours.
Yeah, that's good. Well, thanks, David, for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Lots of good insight there. So
This is fun. My first podcast. I was so excited to come do this.
it was great. It was
Yeah.
great. So thanks, David. We appreciate it.
Yeah.